Reality is a game. But see, unless you know the rules of the game, you won't have the potentiality to create your desired reality. And as I always say, spirituality without the ability to control your reality is nothing but vanity. And I have 5 rules that over the past year of working with professional American footballers, helping them get signed to teams, shout out to TG, working with Hollywood actors, helping them secure contracts, working with 7-8-figure entrepreneurs, and being hired by professional football players, I've concluded that there are 5 rules that are completely paramount when it comes to creating your desired reality. Because the truth is, only 2% of people actually have the ability of winning the game of reality, because it is a game. But if you don't know the rules of the game, it's like being in a chess game and not knowing that your pawn can only move 1 step forward, and then someone comes and eats your ting. Pause. So it is of the highest of importance that we go through these 5 rules. But before we get into those 5 rules, there's one foundation that I need to set. And it's important that you understand them, because one thing that you're going to realize is that these rules, your reality, your universe, your world completely revolves around them. So let's get into it.
Girl, what the hell is on your mind?
Speaking of which, what do you think is a better I Need a Girl? Part 1 or part 2?
What do you think?
I think part 1.
Me?
I need a girl to ride, ride, ride. I need a girl to make my wife. Bro, I definitely think so.
I think part 2. But you know what? It's a good debate. I
Part
guess.
2.
Yeah.
What's part 2 go like again? That one, innit?
Listen, the beat is just
It's
iconic.
that bounce right here. He's doing the diddy bop. The best part of that song is like when the guy's like, girl, what the hell is on your mind? I may be dumb, but I'm not blind. There's something leaking in your mind. Nah, he was cooking.
You came out of nowhere.
Nah, he did. He did. He really, really did. Okay. So, as I said, in order for you to win the game of reality, and the way that I conclude winning is nothing more than being in your desired reality, because spirituality, as I said, for all its theatrics that people want to do in order, dressing up that they do and changing the way that they talk, if your reality staying the same, then that's the indication that your state of consciousness internally is exactly the same. Now, when I say state of consciousness, frequency, the first thing that I want you to understand is that whether I'm saying frequency, whether I'm saying your state of consciousness, whether I'm saying your self-concept, these terms are all directly interchangeable. Your imagination. And it's made up out of a few components that if you don't understand the components that it's made out of, you won't possess the ability to truly create your reality. And I say that because most of you actually have an incorrect definition on manifestation in of itself. And if you have an incorrect definition of manifestation, how the fuck could you ever manifest, right? Because that's almost like you're heading in the wrong direction. And the more that you walk or run in that direction, the further you stray from the truth. And some of us are so far from the truth that we don't understand that why despite all the reading that we're doing, despite all the meditation, affirmations, visualizations, nothing's changing. And it probably comes down to the foundations. And the funny thing about it is that people tend to be like, oh, I've heard this before. And in the most respectful way, and the honest question you really need to frame to yourself, something that I had to frame to myself. And I say this as somebody who's read hundreds of books, even has his own book on manifestation. And it's the question of, if you already know this shit, then why the fuck isn't anything changing? And that's an honest question. And it comes down to the fact that if nothing's changing outside of you, then that's because nothing's changed inside of you, despite you thinking otherwise. And that's what borrowing that down. So when I say frequency, consciousness, imagination, self-concept, they're all interchangeable terms for the same thing. And it's made up from a few characteristics or a few components. So one is your expectations, your beliefs, your emotionally charged thoughts, your focus or attention. I feel like something missing. Focus / attention. Your reactions. And the convictions that you hold, which is nothing more than what you deem to be the truth. Perfect. So, if you're ever to dissect what's your consciousness, your frequency, or your imagination, it's the totality of each and one of these components. And manifestation is simply this. Most people would describe manifestation as changing reality. But once again, if your definition of manifestation is changing reality, then you still have the wrong definition because your focus is still on reality. But reality is an illusion. So if you're focused on an illusion, then you're focused on something that doesn't truly exist. And if you're not grounded in the only thing that truly exists, which is the internal, then you will fall at every degree of reality. And this is why Matthew 6:33, esoterically, Christ said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Because the true understanding that when you dwell in the state of consciousness of unification with the infinite intelligence, whether you want to call that the source, God, Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, all interchangeable terms for the same thing once again, unless you're grounded in that eternal truth, you're going to be subjected to an illusion. So if your manifestation is about changing things outside of you, getting more money, getting that person, getting that career promotion, if that's what it's about, then you still don't understand this fucking game. And because you think that's what it's about, you centralize all the attention towards there. And because you centralize all the attention towards there, you begin to neglect yourself. And because you neglect yourself, you don't realize how aspects of you still haven't changed. And because you're unaware of how aspects of you still haven't changed, you then look at your reality in confusion as to why it hasn't changed. That doesn't make any sense. How can we be dissatisfied with reality but satisfied with ourselves? And you have to go across each one of these components to come to a true definition that whatever your desired reality is, whether that's to make more money, whether that's to get a career, to be employed, promoted in that career, to manifest the person, or your expectations, your beliefs, your emotionally charged thoughts, your focused attention, the way that you react to reality, and what you believe to be the truth and have conviction in, all of that has to be in direct alignment. It all has to be synchronized into one thing, because each one of these things lead to what we were just talking about, which is your frequency, state of consciousness, imagination, which then seeks to materialize that into reality. Now, it's imperative that you step away from that definition of manifestation to the true definition of manifestation. And so long, if you can just remember this definition of manifestation, and this is so funny because I was talking to somebody and somebody must have DM'd me and they were like, hey, I appreciate all the work that you put out. You really impacted my life. And I said, okay, that's cool. First of all, you impacted your life. Don't project that onto me for any particular degree, because I could be the worst nigga that you know. You don't know me. But I said, whoa, how has your life been impacted? And funnily enough, they reverted back to this definition of manifestation, because I don't mean it lightly. I'm not exaggerating when I say, if you can come back to this definition, if you can keep this definition at the top of your head, you'll be closer to materializing your desired reality more than you ever have been. And even me saying closer is still an indication that you still haven't done it. But as I said, we'll get into the rules, but I just want to drop this definition real quick.
This is one of the funniest, outrageous DMs I've seen you receive.
Okay.
Dude, I've been following you for a couple months now. And dude, you're an effing sick CUNT.
CUNT.
I was like, damn.
CUNT.
I'm thinking it's going to be a hate message. You know what I'm trying to say? Everything you said works so well. I'm getting modeling jobs. My TikToks are blowing up.
So wait, why am I CUNT? Why am I that?
I was just like, what? And my mental health is improving more and more every day. Thank you again and again. I hope calling you a sick CUNT wasn't rude. Sorry,
yeah,
it's just a term of endearment here in Australia.
Oh, it's a term of endearment.
Yeah.
That's what they call each other over there.
Crazy, right?
Just like
Crazy. Have you heard the conspiracy theory?
New Yorkers say my heart to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And it seems as though Australians call each other CUNTs. I need someone to actually verify that.
Have you heard the conspiracy that Australia don't really exist?
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. So, okay.
She said, I hope you have the best life, man. You're changing lives every day. I hope you know that. I'm getting money randomly too. Always now. It's crazy how well switching your mindset in how you said works so well. Thank you.
Of course. It's a pleasure, my sister. And it all comes down to this definition. This is the definition that she probably came to the conclusion of. Remember, if you can remind yourself of this every single day, I promise you, this will begin to unlock a deeper understanding into manifestation. Oh my God. Purple just died on me, bro.
Damn.
Crazy. We appreciate your services, my friend. Manifestation is internally shifting to a degree to which you are no longer emotionally dependent upon seeing reality change. Meaning, most people's definition when it comes to manifestation is still a hyperfixation on seeing what they want outside of them as opposed to acquiring that inside of them. And that's where the real shift takes place. The real shift takes place when you begin to relinquish this dependency that you have on reality emotionally by coming to the understanding that emotion is energy emotion, which then turns into a vibration, which then turns into frequency, which then becomes reality. But so long as you're focused on internally shifting, then you're focusing on what truly exists. And when you're focused on what truly exists, you're no longer caught up by the illusion of reality. Because, and I know this because here's the thing, before you are confused as to why you haven't materialized what it is that you want, I want you to ask yourself, am I actually good with making more money? Probably yes. Am I good with getting that career promotion? Most definitely. Am I good with getting that person? 100%. Am I good with getting employed? 100%. Now ask yourself, are you good without those things right now in this moment? And I say right now in this moment because time is an illusion that only exists within this third dimensional realm due to time-space constraints. But as we transcend the third dimensional realm, going into the fourth dimension and outside of it, everything's happening at once. So even when people talk about past lives, that doesn't make any fucking sense because when you go outside of our reality, there is no past. So technically it's only parallel lives, which is the conclusion that quantum physics has come to, right? The idea of parallel universes, we see this, shown in the film industry as, the multiverse, so on and so forth. But to revert back to my original question, are you good without those things right now? And I mean, is your state of being great without those things? Do you feel great without those things? Do you feel amazing without those things? Or you feel like you're missing something? And if you feel like you're missing something internally, if it's as within as without on earth as it is in heaven, then you're missing something externally. And you have to be really, really honest. But the beauty is, if you're honest and you're like, you know what, I'm actually not good without those things. I actually do want more money. I actually do want that person. I actually do want that. Not having that's making me feel some type of way. If you can come to that honest conclusion, then you can be helped. Because that is what we're going to get into with the 5 rules of reality. And as I said, these are the rules that my clients literally pay me to go through with them, right? Like I said, one of my clients recently got signed to the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens, NFL player. Another one of my clients, just moved to a new football team in the UK. Another one of my clients is positioning himself to go to another football team. It's, you know what I'm saying? Entrepreneurs, like the entrepreneur things, like that's normal, right? But these are the most important things. So please, make sure you take notes and leave them in the comments per usual.
After watching this video, I had my first 2K trade the next day. That morning, I wasn't looking at the charts first thing, but the charts within myself.
Ooh.
Big ups to both of you for real.
That's real.
I'm finally aligned with my SP, the bag.
That's fire. I like that. And it made me feel so good inside in my life. Wait, are we allowed to sing that?
You're allowed to sing it.
I just
Bro thinks he's gonna get copyrighted for sounding like this.
No, I'm talking about because it's a Diddy song, right?
Oh. You'll be alright.
I need a girl. Cool. Rule number 1. And in case you haven't noticed, this is a part 2 of my first video, how to outsmart the game of reality. AJ actually urged me to make a part 2, so he is who you should thank for this. Rule number 1. Attention is more powerful than intention. What do you mean by that, Nero? Relax, you're gonna get some. And I say that for the mere fact that, let's actually think about this. Who the fuck doesn't intend for a better life? You know what I'm saying? Like, who doesn't intend for more money? Who doesn't intend for better and more advancement in their career? Who doesn't intend for healthy love? Who doesn't intend to get the person that they want to sleep with? Who doesn't intend for these things? There's not a single human being that doesn't actually have some intention for better. Not a single human being. It's naturally within us to intend for more, for better. Yet, despite all our intentions, Despite all our studying, despite all our meditating, despite all our dieting, despite all them green juices, despite all them, despite all the shit that the spiritual niggas tell you that you need to do so you can be one with the universe, despite all of that, the truth of the matter is, your attention is more powerful than your intention. And please remember that. Please remember that. You can intend for better, but if your attention isn't aligned to your desired reality, then you're going to continuously experience a reality that you don't want to experience. So what do I mean by this? Remember these 3 words when we talk about attention. And attention is of the highest importance. I believe even Neville Goddard in Power of Awareness has a whole chapter on it, on attention. Remember these 3 words. Your attention is alignment. Attention is alignment. Attention is alignment. Attention is alignment. Say it with me. Attention is alignment. Wherever the universe has the capability of getting you to center your attention towards will be the reality that you're aligned to. Despite all your intentions of doing better. What do I mean by this? I mean, even if you want to make more money, if the universe can capture your attention on the aspects of your life that shows that you don't have enough money, then guess what? You're going to be aligned to that reality. Why? And it all comes down to the fact that, and this is spoken about in the Kabbalion, right? There's a law in the Kabbalion in one of the chapters, I believe when it's in the Hermetic law of rhythm, there is a small section on something called the law of neutralization. And the law of neutralization is just nothing more than how to shift from one particular state to another. And that's all reality is. Your capability of shifting to the mental and emotional equivalent of your desired reality is all it takes to get to that reality. Let me say that again. Your ability to shift to the mental and emotional equivalent of your desired reality is all it takes to get to that reality. That's all it takes. That's it. But if we reverse engineer reality, reality is over here. What is reality? Reality is nothing more than a reflection of frequency. Frequency, imagination, state of consciousness, self-concept. What is that dependent upon? Frequency is dependent upon vibration. Because when vibration builds momentum, it becomes frequency. Frequency then alters its state into reality. In the same way that frequency is like steam, reality is like ice. But what is vibration dependent upon? Vibration is dependent upon concentration. Because understand, your concentration is a centralization of energy. Centralization of energy. And energy precedes matter. If concentration is a centralization of energy and energy precedes matter, meaning energy eventually becomes matter, then that would mean that concentration equates to matter. And this is why your attention is your alignment. Because here's the thing. In reality, you always have an option to focus on one of 2 things. This is all reality is. It all just comes down to these 2 things. When we're talking attention and focus, it all comes down to one of 2 things. Nothing more, nothing less. It all comes down to a desired reality and a undesired reality. That's all it comes down to. Nothing more, nothing less. Everything in your life that has the capability of getting your attention is nothing more than a choice between these 2 energetic polarities. And the polarity that you feed is the polarity that you set into motion to gain momentum based on concentration, which then equates to vibration, frequency, and then reality. And you always have the choice between a desired and an undesired reality. And this is so funny because think about it. When you experience negative emotion, all negative emotion arises from one thing. And I'm not exaggerating when I say this. And if you actually sit there and think about any time that you begin to feel worried, scared, frustrated, anxious, it all comes down to one thing. One thing. One thing. It's just one thing that got me true.
It's one thing I'm so...
Focus on an undesired reality. When you're beefing your girl, why are you fucking mad? It's because there's an aspect of you that is concentrating on a reality that you don't want to experience, which is this disharmony. Vice versa. When you're worried about not having enough money, What are you focusing upon? An aspect of reality that you don't want to experience. When you're getting frustrated that you're going to be late, why? Because you're focusing on an aspect of reality that you don't want to experience. All negative emotions are built upon your focus on an unwanted reality. Bear in mind, that negative emotion is the largest shareholder of your frequency. Remember, one of the components of frequency was emotionally charged thought, and that's due to the fact that the energy of emotion adds a different vibration to thought energy, making it more likely to materialize into reality. Just like Job showed you in the Bible, God's most loyal servant, God's best servant, kids killed, crops gone, animals killed. Why? As he says, for what I have greatly feared has come upon me. Why? Because fear is a powerful emotion. It's faith in ignorance. It's faith in reverse, right? Esoterically. And here's the thing. Anytime that you experience a negative emotion, whether you're beginning to just be scared, worried, anxious, paranoid, stressed, think to yourself, what am I focusing on right now? It's going to be something you don't want to experience or something you don't like experiencing. And so long as you're still centralizing energy towards there, you're still allowing for these chain of events to come through. You're still allowing for the cycle of concentration to vibration to frequency to be reality again and again and again. And you're perpetuating your own cycle without coming to the recognition that your negative emotion is actually an indication that you're focusing on something you don't want. So what do you do? What do you do? Tell me, what do you do? You simply focus on what you do want. Not only do you focus on what you want, you shift that wanting to already possessing. For example, let's say that right now you're unemployed and you want to manifest a career. It's easy to get frustrated, disappointed, apathetic, annoyed at the fact that you're unemployed, but that's an indication that those emotions are predicated on your misdirected use of attention, which is a misdirection of energy, and that's a borrow that down. Misdirected attention leads to a misdirected reality. And what you need to do is shift to what you do want. You want to be employed. Now that you know you want to be employed, now you also need to know that so long as you want it, you don't have it. And that's another one I'm going to get into shortly. You need to shift to already having it. So when you think to yourself, damn, I don't have enough clients in my business. I don't have enough clients. Your focus is in the wrong place, mate. You're still focusing in the wrong place, mate. You need to shift to what you do want. What do you want? More clients. Then you already need to be in a state of having more clients. Reality doesn't change before you do. And that's a borrow that down. What you need the world to prove to you is what you need to prove to yourself. What you're seeking for reality to give you is what you need to give yourself. You need to shift from wanting to already be in a state of consciousness where you possess that, because you can have the best intentions in the world. But if your attention is geared towards an aspect of reality you don't want to experience, then you set yourself in motion to experience that reality. Because when you're focusing on an unwanted reality, you're saying internally, I'm undesired state, undesired state, undesired state. So then reality, being nothing more than a mirror reflection or a delayed degree of consciousness, then materializes that undesired state through more and more and more and more and more and more stress. What do you want? Focus on that, then shift to being in a state where you already have that. How do I do that, Nero? Literally just declare it internally. It feels more complicated, Nero. It's not that easy. It really is that easy. And the belief that it's not that easy is actually what's perpetuating that degree of complexity. That's the only thing that's making it more complicated. The belief that it's complicated. And that belief comes from the aspect of reality that doesn't want you to progress. It comes from the aspect of your old frequency that is making it seem more difficult, and it's obfuscating how simple it actually is, because it really is that simple. It really is that simple, from shifting to, going on a date with a fucking arsehole and you're like, oh, all men are dogs, they're terrible species, to then shifting to a state of consciousness of, I'm so happy to be in a healthy relationship with this type of individual, internally declaring that, saturating your mind with that consciousness. And that is rule 1. Attention beats intention. It's no good having good intentions if your attention isn't aligned. The whole thing is this. You want to make sure that your intentions and attention are aligned, not against each other. Aligned, not against each other.
This comment sounds wild. They said, I started watching Nero in 2024. I was homeless, living in a transitional shelter with my 6-year-old daughter at the time.
Aww.
That's some tough times. The 3 T's was the first video I watched.
Great video. Highly recommend that video.
Fast forward, me and my daughter have our own room in a 1-bed apartment. I just came back from New York from a business trip for my rap career. I signed to an indie label. I have 23,000...
Congratulations on the signing.
Crazy.
Yo, make sure you put us in the tune when you fly us out to one of them parties.
You know, I have 23,000 followers on IG, 10K on TikTok. My music is becoming more successful and my daughter and I are safe. So grateful to my past self for staying dedicated and doing my homework. I recommend everyone to watch Nero whenever they tell me they're going through hardship.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. That has literally melted my heart. That's so sweet.
That's amazing.
Congratulations to you. What's her name?
Tokyo Renee.
Shout out Renee, man. That's so sweet.
I need to go.
It's nice to get heartfelt comments in all the degeneracy of some of these comments.
It's funny because a few comments down, you'll probably see some guys saying, bro, I finally manifested the girl I've wanted.
Yeah, in another video, brother was talking about how he manifested a threesome and he was like, now I'm going to start manifesting money. Priorities is just completely back to front, bro. But hey, the truth is, the channel's a reflection of us, innit? Like, clearly we got that seriousness and we're degenerates too, so. I'll use orange for you, mate. Rule number 2. Rule number 2. It's a question, actually. What I really want. Make sure you write that down. What I really want. So tell me what I want, what I really, really want. So tell me what I want, what I really, really want.
I wanna.
Rule number 2. What do you want? What do you want? You're probably thinking, Nero, come on, like, I already know that. Like obviously, baddies, number 1. Because that's all niggas seem to want to manifest here. Money.
Money specifically from the casino.
Yeah, because we have a lot of gamblers that watch this account too. Career, abundance, love, career plus promotions, money, sales, more clients. I want to manifest a big house. But the irony is, when I ask you what you want to manifest, if everything that you just described to me, and if everything that came to your mind is tied to the physical plane, then guess what? You still don't know what you want. And because you don't know what you want, you're deviating from how to get what you want. And that's what, write that down. Write that down. If I don't know what I want, then I deviate from what I want. In fact, you make what you want deviate from you. When you don't know what you want, you don't have the capability of having what you desire chase you. And that's the irony of it all. We feel like we're on this perpetual treadmill of running after our desires. I want more money, you run after it, it runs away. But last time that I checked, it's easier to make a cheetah come to you than it is to chase a cheetah. Unless you're Jamaican, them men are fast. You lot are fast.
I'm going to pretend you never said that.
Actually, you don't even know Marcus Garvey. I can't even say that you're a proper
Fake
Jamaican.
news.
He didn't know Marcus
Fake
Garvey.
news.
I had to educate him.
No proof.
Anyways, it's easier to make a butterfly come to you than it is to chase a butterfly. It's easier to make a fish come to you than to chase a fish. Last time I checked, niggas go fishing. They throw their little hook into the water and the fish comes to them, innit? They don't go chasing after the fish in the water because that just doesn't make sense. But so long as you don't know what it is that you really want, so long as what you want is a physical explanation, you don't know what you want. And because you don't know what you want, you're chasing your desires. And because you're chasing your desires, you would only run after something you don't have, which is an indication to reality that you don't have, which then that state of consciousness of lacking then materializes that reality where you lack what it is that you want. So what do you want? You're like, I don't know. What do you want? If more money, if more sales, more clients, more career advances, being employed, being in a healthy relationship, abundance, more people, if that's not what you want, then what do you want? And if you don't come to this conclusion, which bear in mind, like I said, only 2% come to this conclusion. 98% of people never come to the conclusion. They'll think to themselves, now I want an E-class Merc, I want an apartment, you know what I'm saying? I want a yacht, baddies, money. Girls will think they want some nigga to trick on them. You're still not understanding. You're still not getting it. It's not clocking to you. And the truth of the matter is, so long as you haven't come to this one conclusion, then you'll never understand. See, as opposed to chasing your desires, you have the capability of making your desires chase you. But the only way your desires are going to chase you is when you become worthy of being chased. And that's a bar, write that down. The only way you're going to make your desires chase you is when you become worthy of being chased. But the only way you can become worthy of being chased is knowing what your desires want. So as opposed to thinking, what do I really want? What does what you want? And it wants one thing. Frequency. Why do you want what you want? Why do you want more money? Probably to feel secure, probably to not have to worry anymore, probably to not have to live in a state of stress, probably to not have to constantly overthink about money. Why do you want a career? A degree of security, similar to money. Why do you want that career promotion? A degree of status, recognition, appreciation, and all the money. Why do you want that person? Because you want to be cherished, because you want to be appreciated, because you want to be loved. Why do you want that person? Maybe you want to be sexually satisfied. Why do you want a toothpick? It's because you want your teeth to be, you want comfort. Why do you want a drink? Because you want your thirst quenched. Why do you want a burger? Because you want to be satisfied internally. Everything that I just described is nothing more than a different state. And a different state is what you truly want. That is what you truly want. You want nothing more than a different state. You want nothing more than a different state. Say it with me. I want nothing more than a different state. But if you haven't come to the conclusion that you want nothing more than a different state, then you're still going to be centralizing your attention to the wrong place. You're still going to be focused on the wrong thing. And if you're focused on the wrong thing, how could you materialize the right thing? And that was a serious one. Might want to rewind that one. If you're actually focused on the wrong thing, how can you materialize the right thing? Because when you really break it down, if nothing in reality can offer you a different state of being, you don't want it. There's things that you don't want. Why? Because you know they wouldn't do anything for you. I used to want Rolexes until I came to the conclusion that it's not going to do anything for me. And because it doesn't do anything for me, I don't have that desire to go and get it. If something doesn't do it for you, do you have that desire to go and get it? If you don't like some food, do you want that? And this is the conclusion that you need to come to. Yeah. If the state isn't missing, you don't want it. And if the state is missing, that's the only reason you want it. And I truly mean this down to everything. Think about everything in life that we desire. Think about new clothes. Think about these shades. Think about a do-rag. Everything that we want can be broken down to just wanting a feeling. Wanting a feeling that we're missing. And I truly mean this. So let's think about it. Let's say this is you over here and you desire more money. Upon getting more money, how would you feel? You'd probably feel secure. You'd probably feel safe. You'd probably feel free, stress-free. You'd probably feel great. But the irony is that because we want a feeling that is missing, our very desire is an indication that we're missing it. And because our desire is an indication that we're missing it, if we don't have it within, we don't have it without. If we don't have it internally, we don't have it externally. But the irony is, how you would feel upon getting what you want is what your desire wants for it to come to you. See what I mean when I say you've got the game fucked up? You're thinking, I want more money. Your desire, money is thinking, I want safety, freedom, and security. How many times have you jumped to acquire this to get this? Because here's the thing. You can't chase a butterfly. If you don't have what the butterfly wants, it's not going to come to you. If you don't have the state that money wants internally, the state of consciousness, the frequency, the self-concept, the mental attitude of money, if you don't already have that as something you already possess internally, then money isn't going to come to you. Because the only way that you can make your desire come to you is by acquiring the mental attitude, state of consciousness, self-concept, frequency of it. That's all it wants. And see, you need to shift from thinking I have desires to what do my desires desire? What does my desire desire? What does a partner? What does the universe? And bear in mind, and this is what I mean, a lot of us have a physical explanation of what we want without realizing that a physical explanation is tied to the illusion of reality. And because it's tied to the illusion of reality, we end up chasing our desires. But our very desire to chase is the indication that we don't already possess it. And if you don't already possess it within, then how can you already possess it without? But then on a deeper level, everything we want in reality, everything down to a light right here, to the light right there, to the camera right there, is because acquiring these things would make us feel a different way. If they didn't make us feel a different way, we wouldn't want them. But ironically, feeling a different way is how we get those things to want us. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you dwell more in a state of desiring, or do you dwell in the state of what your desires desire? And I mean this every day. Do you dwell in a state of desiring more money? Or do you dwell in the state that more money desires? See, it's completely different. It's crazy when you think about it like that, isn't it? Crazy light bulb moment. Do you desire that career promotion? Or do you dwell in the mental, emotional equivalent that a career promotion would desire? Because see, your desires are nothing more than energy. It's nothing more than frequency. And frequency, it likes itself, so it wants itself. And wherever it isn't, it will not go to. But wherever it is, it will go to. Do you want a healthy relationship? Or are you dwelling in a state of consciousness that the materialization of a healthy relationship will seek out? The desires of your desires is of the highest level of importance. The highest level of importance, because we get it backwards. And we get it backwards because we spend so time encapsulated within the physical plane. Because we spend most of our time in the physical plane, we don't come to an understanding of the fact that we're conditioned to desire everything physical and to only be able to perceive reality physically without taking into consideration that there's not one plane of existence, there's 3 planes of existence, mental, physical, spiritual. But then we also see a very small fraction of reality because we only see 0.0035% of what actually exists. I repeat, we only see 0.0035% of what actually exists. So naturally, our ego is conditioned to only see all of this around us to be all that exists. So then our desires become reflective of all that exists to us without coming to consideration that this is a materialization. And if it's a materialization, then what is it before it has condensed itself in the same way that steam condenses into ice? You see, you're too focused on getting the ice as opposed to getting the steam first and then allowing reality to materialize that. Because when you possess the steam, when you know, nothing can tell you otherwise. And here's the thing, the reason why in life, the only thing you want is frequency. The only thing you want is frequency. The only thing you want is frequency. The reason for that is because you see, coming from the infinite, all of us are nothing more than droplets from the universe or the infinite intelligence of God. Think about us like clouds. We're all in the cloud of God, and then when our souls want to incarnate on this physical plane, like rain droplets, we drop down to the physical plane. And when we've dropped down, we've now separated from the infinite that we once was part of. And because we've separated from the infinite that we were once part of, we now spend our whole lives trying to get that feeling of interconnectedness and fulfillment and wholeness again. But we project that into the external reality. We project that into the illusionary reality. We project that into thinking, I want more money, I want that car, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that, as opposed to coming and seeing it from a God's eye view, beyond transcending the illusions of reality and coming to an understanding, what does the universe want? What does my desire want? And your desire is only going to want something that's real. And there's nothing more real in reality than energy. And because you understand that nothing is more real than energy, then seek to acquire the mental and emotional equivalent reflection of whatever it is that you want before reality shows it to you. So this isn't about thinking to yourself, I will make more money, because that's still an indication of the fact that if we take into consideration that the past doesn't exist and the future doesn't exist in the subconscious mind, the only time that exists right now is the now in the subconscious mind, which is where you materialize reality from. Saying I will is an indication that I am not. So the only thing that you must do is declare that you are already that. You are already making more money. You are already in a happy relationship. And then allowing yourself to go through the components of what frequency state of consciousness is made of. Make sure your beliefs contribute to that. Make sure your perceptions contribute to that. Make sure your emotionally charged thoughts reflect that. Make sure the way that you react to reality reflects that. Your expectations and your reactions are all in alignment of that, or your focus, sorry. Make sure they're all in alignment of an individual who would see reality from that particular perception, because then reality will see you through that lens. And that is rule number 2. The desire of your desires.
I've bought 5 copies of your book.
Wow.
And have given them all away.
By the way, Outsmarting Reality, Amazon bestseller in all 3 categories in less than 24 hours. Also, #1 gifted in the categories of mysticism and spirituality.
Nice. I've bought 5 copies of your book and given them all away.
Wow.
Every time I buy a book to keep for myself, I always find myself in a cycle of thinking, I'm going to keep your book and always give it away. Laughing my ass off.
I've given so many books away, I don't even realize it. I went down to this nigga's house the other day, AJ, and I saw my book there, and I completely forgot that I gave it to him. He had it on his bookshelf. I was like, it's not my book. People do not return books.
Ooh.
So if you're giving someone that is good, it's gone.
And it was like a free library. Come here and just select a book and leave.
Nah, bro. I Need a Girl Part 1 is better.
Ding, ding. Ding, ding,
I just
ding,
want you to be
ding,
my baby.
ding,
I just want you
ding,
to be my lady. I just want you in my life. It'll make me feel so good inside. Cool. I'll use brown, why not? Cool. Now, rule number 3. Bear in mind, you're not going to hear these rules anywhere else, because these are things that I've come to a conclusion of myself working and being hired by the individuals that I've been hired by. By the way, if you're 7 to 8 figure entrepreneur, an actor, or a professional athlete, and you want to enhance your performance and not work hard or smarter, but work multidimensionally to have people confused as to how you're doing these things, make sure you check out the link in the description. But you can only have what you already have. Now, this is what I call the annoying law of the universe. And the thing about the annoying law of the universe is that if you haven't properly allowed the annoying law of the universe to marinate or come to a true conclusion of it, then life is going to be a bit annoying for you. And that's the truth. Because here's the thing, you can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. Thinking, what the fuck? You can only have more money if you already have more money. You can only have that career promotion if you already have that career promotion. You can only have that employment if you're already employed. You can only have that person if you already have them. And you're like, what? But I don't understand. I'm essentially saying to you that you can only have your desired reality if you already have it. Probably still not making sense. And it all comes down to incorrect definitions once again. You see, in the universe, there's 2 chairs. And you can't sit in 2 chairs at once. There is wanting, and there is having. And the thing about wanting or having is that, like I said, there are 2 chairs in the universe. You can't sit in both at the same time. And the one that you spend more time in is the one that you allow momentum to be built up. So if you're allowing the momentum of wanting a reality, then you're indirectly not having that reality. And if you can only have what you already have, these are the 2 choices. Now, once again, this is about your ability to introspectively come to a conclusion, honestly, on which one it is that you spend more time doing. Do you spend more time wanting your desire or having your desire? Because if you can spend more time having your desire, then you will have your desire. But it's still like, what do you mean have it? Of course, if I'm checking my bank account and I got no bread, what do you mean? Once again, there's 2 definitions of having. There is the human definition of having, and there is the universe definition of having. So long as you have the human definition of having, you will lose the game of reality and end up with the 98% every single time. But with the universe's definition of having, you will win, enjoying the 2%. So what is the universe's game of having? Well, what's the human one? Human definition of having is probably some degree of physical possession. Physical possession. But once again, physical possession is an effect. Remember, in the Hermetic traditions, there's the Hermetic law of cause and effect. Reality is an effect. The world around you is an effect. The physical plane is an effect. Your world is an effect. Your universe is an effect. The cause is the mind. The cause is the subconscious mind. The cause is the mental plus emotional equivalent. That is the cause. The cause is your state of consciousness, your frequency, which is made up out of those characteristics of, remember, your perception, your beliefs, your emotionally charged thoughts, your expectations, your reactions, your focus, and don't remember what the other one is. But you do, so it's fine. Should have that written down. The universe's definition of having, which is the only one that matters, is vibrational possession. That is the only definition that matters. Vibrational possession. Vibrational possession. Vibrational possession. And remember, go back to the very first law, the very first rule that I gave you in this video. What is vibration dependent upon? You should remember this. Your concentration. Concentration plus emotion. Concentration to already possessing your desired reality or being separated from it. And see, that's the thing. So long as you vibrationally possess, what you vibrationally possess is what you have to the universe. So if you're vibrationally, which is the mental and emotional equivalent of possessing poverty, then by the universe's definition, you're going to have poverty. So then by the human definition, you will also physically possess. Because remember, before anything can exist physically, it first must exist vibrationally. So, what is having? Having is already possessing what it is that you desire in reality. But by whose definition? The universe's. And by the universe's definition, that's nothing more than a mental plus emotional equivalent of already being in that reality. So long as you mentally and emotionally possess whatever it is that you want, by the universe's definition, you have. But here's the thing. If you're focused on the physical definition of having, then wanting is always going to reflect what you don't have. And that's what it truly is. When you get caught up in wanting, and bear in mind, wanting is nothing more than a feeling of lacking. And having is a feeling of, once again, having, but so we don't get caught up in the semantics of it all, possessing. The more that you can focus on shifting your attention to mentally and emotionally coming to a conclusion that you already possess what you want, then you're not lacking and you're in possession. And when you're in possession of your desired reality vibrationally, it then materializes physically. When you're in possession of the mental and emotional equivalent of your desired reality vibrationally, it then becomes physically. But if you're still looking and focusing on what you don't have, then that is wanting. And that's what wanting is an indication of. You don't want anything that you already have. I don't want to wear shades right now because I'm wearing shades. I don't want to wear a do-rag right now. I don't have a desire. Let me put on a do-rag because I'm wearing one right now. You understand what I'm saying? That's not something that I have. It's not something that I desire, sorry. And if I did desire it, it would almost lead one to think that I don't have it. Because the only time I want to put on shades is when I'm not wearing shades. The only time you want to put on more money is when you're not wearing more money. The only time when you want to put on getting more clients is when you don't have more clients. The only time that you want to put on a healthy relationship is when you don't already have a healthy relationship. The only time that you want to put on a career employment is when you don't have career employment. The only time when you want to put on a career promotion is when you don't have a promotion within it. You understand are you getting what I'm saying? Good. Which is an indication that every time you catch yourself thinking, that's a moment for you to recalibrate and shift to, I already have it within. I already have it within. I already have it within. And then you must begin to think from the position of the attainment of that desired reality. So if you had more clients, you wouldn't be thinking, I want more clients. You'd probably be thinking, I have too many clients right now. That's probably something you'd be thinking. If you was in a healthy relationship, you wouldn't be thinking, man, where have all the good men gone? They don't make women like they used to. You wouldn't be thinking any of those things because that's not your fucking problem. But because it's your problem, it's your reality. You understand? You getting what I'm saying here? You wouldn't be thinking to yourself, man, I need to get a job right now. If you had a job, you'd probably be thinking, I wonder who I'm going to see at work tomorrow. And it's almost delusional to do that, right? It's almost delusional to be in a state of consciousness before reality's proved it to you. But it's also not delusional because reality is nothing more than a state of consciousness. So if your internal state is going to be reflective of it, then this is what you need to come to a conclusion of. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. You can only have what you already have. And you need to make sure that majority of your day is spent in a state where you are occupying having what it is that you want. Because when you have what it is that you want, that is the mental act of already possessing what you want. And that then leads to vibrational possession, which is the true universe's definition of possession. And that leads to physical possession. But if you're focused on physical possession, then you're focused on an effect. You're saying to yourself, man, I don't like the song that is playing right now. And you're just complaining about the song that is playing instead of just changing the song. But when you're watching something on the TV that you don't want to see, you change the channel. When you're hearing a song that you don't want to hear, you change the song. At what point are you going to come to the conclusion that you need to change the vibration or the state of consciousness that you're mentally declaring and emotionally declaring to then change what you declare physically, to change what you possess physically? At what point are you going to come to the conclusion that you can only have what you already have? And that's the annoying law of the universe. It doesn't make any sense. It's quite annoying the first time hearing this, right? Because it's quite backwards. But it's not backwards, it's actually in the correct order. You've been playing the game of reality backwards. We've all been taught that reality works in a certain way. But the way that we've been taught reality works isn't how the secret societies, the elites, and all the people that you see being extremely successful, and I know because these are my fucking clients, this isn't how they see it. So you need to understand this very, very quickly. Mobbing in the Bentley smoking moon, rocks, Pockets full of mother blue guap. Half an ounce in my Gucci 2 socks. For the summertime, got a new drop. Trapper slash rapper slash bad bitch snatcher. Baby mama man, she said you live like a bachelor. Sold 100 pounds and gave 10% to the pastor church. You know, I've had bare people hitting me up about the How to Love Yourself video, saying that video hit different and how they were crying. Numerous amount of people have even messaged me personally like, yo, that video was the one.
Crying.
Yeah.
First.
It's quite a deep topic.
Yeah, there's even a comment here saying, new subscriber, Nero, your video on self-love convinced me you know what you're talking about. Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome to the cult, in case you did. I'm fucking with you. Cool. Rule number 4. Remember how to get to your desired reality. What the hell does that mean? Remember how to get to my desired reality. That don't make no sense, innit? It don't make no sense. If it don't make dollars, don't make sense. See, wake up like I gotta get it. Don't know that song, AJ?
I do.
What song?
If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense.
I really believed you.
I actually do know the song.
If it don't make dollars, don't make sense. Z, wake up like I gotta get it. And I got an engine for a trunk
space. I get money 2 ways. Fucking missions 2 ways. Beyonce, Andre.
I think it's Ayo. Cool. Remember how to get to your desired reality. Nero, what do you mean? I haven't got to my desired reality. How can I remember? Well, you can. In fact, you already do, and you already have began remembering how to get to your desired reality. Because here's the thing. Ooh. If your intuition is calibrated to the frequency/state of your desired reality, then your intuition is nothing more than another version of you reminding you how you got to that reality. And that is a bar. What do I mean by this? Let me explain something. If we see reality over here, this is your world. That is your reality. That is where you are living. Your finances, your relationship status, your career, all of that. Reality to the average human being is nothing more than a product of action, even though action doesn't actually lead to creation unless you believe it does on a subconscious level, due to the fact that we make the laws of our reality and there are no truths in the reality you experience other than what the subconscious mind accepts as true. I actually have a client, shout out Jessica Divine. We was on a session and she said something so beautiful, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. She actually has the belief that the more money she makes, the easier life gets, which is absolutely phenomenal. I think she says the more money I get, the more I rest. That's her belief. And that is a subconscious belief that she's quite literally seeing as a 7-figure business owner. But, you know, most people believe that action leads to creation, as opposed to action just being a facilitator of energy into existence. Action is very important, but more important than action is action preceded by the right state of consciousness. That's more important. Your action is dependent upon the mental nudges that you are geared towards. So your mind might say, take a left today. You know what? Go talk to this person. Go reach out to this person. Change this. Update your CV. You know what? Go approach that person. Say this, do this, do this. Your mental nudges is dependent upon your intuition. And your intuition is dependent upon your frequency, your self-concept, your imagination, your consciousness. Remember, all the same thing. Now, here's the thing. If the state that you're in is your desired reality, and I've already showed you how to get to that state, if you're already in the state that you possess what it want, that you already possess what you want. So let's say you're in a state of having more clients, more money, more sales, whatever. Then your intuition is going to be nothing more than another version of you that exists in another universe, reminding you how you got to that reality. But you need to have the capability of being able to hear your intuition and execute upon it quickly. See, when there's something you know that you need to do, and it's come out of nowhere, do this, and you know you need to do this, you need to have the capability of executing on that quickly, because your intuition is fucking useless if you don't capitalize upon it. Because what you're not capitalizing, or what you're capitalizing upon, isn't intuition. It's the materialization of your desired reality. You see, if your intuition, if your frequency is in the state of your desired reality, if you're living in the state of your desired reality, then guess what? When you have that sales call, or you go for that meeting, or you go to negotiate that deal, if you're already in a state of existence that you've already closed that deal, then your intuition, the mental nudges that your mind gets to you on what to say, how to say it, the things not to say, it's going to flow naturally. And it's going to flow naturally because it's coming from another version of you that was already done it, and it's reminding you how you got there. I remember I was having a call with one of my clients, Ethan, professional football player for Arsenal. And I said to him, how many times before you step on the pitch have you already scored a goal? He was like, what? But I said to him, if you're already in a state of existence of already having scored the goal, then the way that you run, where you run, the speed that you run, the moves that you make, the way you move your feet, it's naturally going to flow, because you're going to be reminded of an aspect of you that has already scored. You see? But sometimes our intuition actually works against us, because if you're calibrated in a wrong state, if you're calibrated to a state that is self-destructive, right, then your intuition is going to reflect another version of you that has been destroyed, reminding you how to walk into your own destruction. So it's paramount that you have the capability of, one, making sure that you're calibrated to being in that state. Then when you're in that state, when mental and nudges rise, make sure you execute upon them quickly, because what you're executing upon is the collapsing of that reality into your present reality. But here's the thing, for some reason, we don't do shit that we know we need to do as quickly as we should. You know you don't. Fucking bullshit me. There's stuff that you know you need to do, and there's stuff I know I need to do. There's stuff that sometimes I'm like, why haven't you done that yet? Why haven't you done that? And I'm saying this as a nigga who has wrote a book, works with, some of the best people in the world at what they do, the best entrepreneurs, the best athletes, even the best actors. And I'm like, damn, why didn't you do that? Go through the same shit as you lot. I keep telling you niggas this. I'm no different. I can just talk real nice. But it's the truth. We need to execute upon our intuition quickly, because that leads to a quicker materialization of our desired reality. People talk about how to manifest instantly. You can't manifest instantly if you're not executing upon your intuition instantly. Because when you execute upon your intuition instantly, you're executing upon your desired reality in message form. That's real.
Someone said, "Hey Nero, I've been watching you for a couple months now. I know you're no boxing coach, but I implemented your teaching and knowledge to my training, and fortunately, I've got my first amateur win."
Congratulations.
He then quotes, "Spirituality without the ability to control your reality is vanity."
Real talk.
I appreciate you.
Because some niggas would have told you to, drink smoothies and, walk on grass barefoot and change your name. As opposed to just entering the state of consciousness or whatever it is that you want and still doing all the shit that you want to do. It's okay. It's not.
I will be honest. As an occultist, I thought you were one of the scammers.
Wait,
however,
what?
Someone commented, "I will be honest. As an occultist, I thought you were one of the scammers. However, after I read your book, it changes my opinion. Dude, you know what you are doing. Very impressive. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Appreciate it, bro."
Well, from one occultist to another, thank you. See, here's the thing about me, people don't realize. See, most niggas that you see talking about manifestation, that's all that they know. Manifestation was one of the last things that I studied. I was studying the occult, the arcana of the inner and the outer. I was also diving into the esoteric. I was also diving into ancient spiritual systems. So I can talk to you about some shit that you niggas probably wouldn't even be able to understand that you know that. And I have these conversations with people like offline. When people are like, "You know about this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know about this." And they're like, "Why don't you talk about it?" Because there's no practicality in it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we can talk about it, but if it doesn't give somebody the ability to control their reality, then it's vanity. And that's the whole point. Because a lot of people will have this deep information and their lives are still the same. As vanity. There's no point in that. You understand what I'm saying? Who knows? Maybe one day I might make another channel where I'm diving into all these esoteric deep concepts, alchemy and all of those type of things. But hey, for the time being, just take over the manifestation game, which is already done, to be fair. And see, the reason why he clocked it is because if you read my book, even if you listen to the things that I say, you'll hear a multitude of school of thoughts. You'll hear stuff from the esoteric, you'll hear stuff from the occult, you'll hear the law of focus, you'll hear the law of assumption, you'll hear all of these, you'll hear all of these things, but you just have to know it. Like when I talk about egregores, that's an occult concept. You understand what I'm saying? And bear in mind, but anyways, it's nice that people recognize. I mean, if you know, then you know enough. Rule number 5, treat your current life as if it's your dream life. Until you have the capability of treating your current life as if it's your dream life, you won't be able to set into motion for reality to alchemize itself into actually being your dream life. You need to relax. And when I say relax, bear in mind, I'm not one of them spiritual niggas that's going to tell you to do nothing. That's idiotic. That's complete idiotic. And nothing frustrates me more than when I see people spewing out that garbage of, you need to do nothing, because that's just absolutely ridiculous. There's 3 planes of existence. If you did nothing as a human being, you would die, because you wouldn't eat, you wouldn't drink, you wouldn't brush your teeth, you wouldn't take care of yourself. So let's stop all that bullshit. But it's about understanding that when you do take action, and you need to take action, but action from the right state of consciousness, when you're in a state of relaxation is the state that the world wants to take you away from, for a multitude of reasons. 1, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God. Only in stillness can you know God. And guess what? The world wants you to be the opposite of still. The world wants you to be restless. And when you're restless, you're opposite from God. And when you're opposite from God, you then descend into hell. They say that hell is eternal separation from God, but God is omnipresent, so you can't be eternally separated from God because God is everywhere. But in the esoteric occultic side of things, that means to understand it's a misalignment of being restless. Because if you're in a restless state of consciousness, then you're far away from God. And if you're the closer that you are to God, the easier it will be to materialize your desired reality. When I say God, I don't mean in a religious sense where you have to do these things to appease some type of God. I mean a degree of stillness, because that stillness is what places you close to the consciousness of God. Because here's the thing, when you're in a state of stillness, technically in your dream reality, in your desired reality, you'd probably be relaxed. If you're making the money you wanted, you'd probably be relaxed. If you're with the person, you'd probably be able to relax. If you was in that career, you'd probably relax. If you had that promotion, you'd probably relax. So relax. Because you being in a state of relaxation indicates to the universe that you are in your desired reality. But you not being able to relax is an indication that you're restless. And if you're restless, you're separated from your desired reality. The other thing is this. Esoterically, it says in John 3:27, a man cannot receive unless it's given to him from heaven. Heaven is that reflection of consciousness of stillness. So when you're in heaven, you're able to receive heaven on earth, because on earth as it is in heaven, it's as within, as without, as above, so below. It's the same thing, just said in a different way. And then it's about coming to the understanding that when you're in a state of relaxation, your brain waves are calibrated to theta and alpha. Theta and alpha are literally the gates to the subconscious mind. And people want to talk about, my reality doesn't seem to change. It's because you're probably in a restless state of consciousness and you're actually not being able to relax yourself. You relax yourself by sitting and just doing nothing, making time to do nothing, making time to do things that relax you as a priority, as opposed to what life wants to get you to prioritize upon. Because when the door to your subconscious mind, theta and alpha, is open, then your mind is forever in a state of being moldable. And when your mind is in a state of forever being moldable, ladies and gentlemen, then you possess the ability to outsmart reality for the second time. She sent me a text, I'll answer her call. She love when I flex, and shop by the mall, relieving extra. Boy, stop playing, grab my, why you acting not to shine? Baby, hold me, cause I like the way you do. I like to say what if, but if we could kiss and just cut the rubbish.